Welcome on into GoldSheet TV, the first of two Super Bowl breakdowns with my guy at Newbie Talks on Twitter, Dan Alexander. I'm your host, Eric Pauly at Slime Action on Twitter. And like I just mentioned, we are going to do two Super Bowl previews today, just breaking down who we like to win the big game and the total. Next week, we will give out any and all prop bets for you guys to lock in for the big game. Two quick reminders before we get into it. First things first, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Those are the best ways to help us grow. If you like the content in any way, please hit that like button. Number two, at WagerTalk.com for any handicapper, we have a Super Bowl to Super Bowl special. Certainly should use this on the gold sheet. If you purchase that now, you get every single play, every single sport, everything, all things included, from now through the Super Bowl in 2025. All 5%, all everything, all anything. So that is an $800 worth of savings that for that special. So absolutely must take advantage of that. Newbie, let's get into it. I have one question for you. Who is winning the Super Bowl?
Oh man, if I knew the answer to that, EP, I probably wouldn't be on the show because I would be calling like my aunts, my uncles, friends of friends, friends of relatives, and asking them, let's take up some alms and drop in the biggest bet of the world on this Super Bowl. But that's not the reality of it, man. I'll tell you what. As far as uh, early, opening thoughts, because that's again what we're going to do here a little bit more. Give our overview of the game, maybe some bets that we would be eyeing, how we would bet the Super Bowl. And then on our show next week, we're going to come locked and loaded with props, parlays, all kinds of fun stuff for your Super Bowl parties. But for me, man, I'll be honest, like I was surprised again with what we have seen in this whole season and especially the offseason, because you could argue that it's been the tale of two seasons for the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's just kind of been more of the same for the San Francisco 49ers since around mid-November. And that's that one team is heading up and the other team just can't cover spreads. And the team who can't cover the spreads, that's the team who's the favorite here. Laying two again are the San Francisco 49ers, essentially painted across the board. It opened at that. Then there was KC money that came in, pushed it down. It even touched one in some spots. And now money coming back in on the San Francisco 49ers, pushing it back on up to two. And I don't get it, man. I mean, I don't remember the last time that the 49ers were able to cover a spread, albeit those spreads were a little bit more lopsided than laying 2 points. But look at who they're laying 2 points against. The team that just went against arguably the best defense in the NFL and showed who the real best defense in the NFL was with what the Kansas City Chiefs were able to do on the road, absolutely shutting down that vertical attack that the Ravens got them that one seed this season. And now, dude, like we're getting points with Pat Mahomes again. So it's like, what are we doing? Pat Mahomes now 17-4-1 on an ATS run, 16 outright wins in that stretch as a dog. So you're telling me I'm getting points? I could play plus 105 on the money line? Like, it can't be that easy. Can it, EP? Is it that easy? Give me the two with Pat Mahomes. It feels like it's too obvious, and maybe that's why we're seeing this steam come back on the 49ers. But it can't just be that simple that Pat Mahomes, he's getting points. Let's keep on moving. I mean, it's worked for you this playoffs.
Yeah. I say screw the points and give me the money line. I simply put, I have two Chiefs futures, a 10-1 and a 7.5-1. The 7.5-1 I took, I want to say like week 4, and then the 10-1 I took right before the playoffs. Like I cannot believe the Kansas City Chiefs were 10-1 to win the Super Bowl prior to the wild card round beginning. I capitalized, and long story short, I am not hedging. I am taking this bet and I am riding with the Chiefs on this one. I don't think it's as simple as Patrick Mahomes or bust. I just think that the Kansas City Chiefs, like you said, Newbie, tale of two seasons, basically, they are just simply the better football team when I take a look at it. Like, if you want to go down to like layman's terms, and this is why I had the Chiefs over the Bills. I liked the Chiefs over the Ravens, and of course I had the Chiefs over the Miami Dolphins in the first round. Is you have the better quarterback, you have the better head coach, and you have the better defense. When you're assembling a football team, like obviously you want to have a team with explosive plays. If you're able to create explosive plays, it helps you very much so for obvious reasons. You could score at will, you can build a margin, and then if you have a good enough defense, you could lock it down. Yes, the Chiefs' offense isn't explosive, but you have the best talent in the history of the sport at quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, when the lights are the brightest, his EPA per play is almost at a 1.0. And to put that into context, a good EPA is like a zero point 0.2. That's like a great
Jeez.
EPA. Like a relatively
It's
good is like a zero
unreal.
point 0.15. So I just don't anticipate Mahomes making any like young Mahomes mistakes. Like he is the best version of himself by a mile. This defense has been the best in the National Football League, and I've been screaming this from the mountaintops. The viewers know if you've been listening, and of course you know, newbie. I've been screaming from the mountaintops how good this defense is. And the one other thing that I was harping on was the turnovers. They did not force turnovers. What happens in Baltimore? They forced 3 of them, and that regression, if that seems to continue, then I thinking what we've seen from Brock Purdy. Yes, he made some great runs, but I'm finding it very hard to like buy a lot of stock in what the Niners did in that comeback. Like kudos to what they did, but they're playing a Lions defense that is one of the worst defenses in the National Football League.
Mhm.
There were 2 drops on crucial plays that turned the script completely around. And Jahmyr Gibbs fumble, again, fumble luck at the 25-yard line that set them up. So kudos to Purdy for making the plays, but based on how they beat the Lions and how they even beat the Packers, I'm not even sure the 49ers deserve to be in this situation, to be honest. So,
Yeah.
long-winded way of saying, I mean, like the biggest concerns were the Chiefs' offensive line against the Niners' defensive line. Niners' defensive
Yep.
line didn't do crap against a mediocre, not a mediocre, but a banged-up Lions offensive line. They were missing a starter. Another one starter was banged up. Definitely a great O-line, don't get me wrong. But I don't think the Niners can bully Mahomes up front. Excuse me, the Chiefs' offensive line, I should say up front. The Chiefs will be able to run the football effectively. The Niners will be able to too. But then what does it come down to? Who's under center? And that to me is Patrick Mahomes. And that's it. And then
Yeah.
also, again, the Shanahan stat of not being able to come back in games. Yes, he had that 17-point comeback. So what? He's like now 1 in 10 or whatever the metrics are. It's not like he's, all of a sudden I'm going to think Shanahan's the king of the comebacks. Like this, the Chiefs team, I think they cement their dynasty on Sunday or next Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like I don't want this to just be a one-way arrow. It's just it's tough for me to want to lay points with a 49ers team that again, part of the reason why I've been taking points with them and cashing week after week. I mean, I kind of ended up with the wrong read pushing towards the under in the comeback that they had, and ended up blowing that up. But it's tough for me to want to lay points with this offense as it's constructed because when they trail, the game becomes different, and
Yes.
there's reason to believe that they're going to trail against the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think if they do not, if the 49ers are able to cover this game, it's going to be a tight game. So that's why, I don't think that this thing is going to get anywhere near 3, even if we keep seeing money coming in on the 49ers. But if the 49ers do cover and win this game, it figures that it's because their defense finally looked like the D that it was early on in the year. And we know that Kansas City's defense has already been that defense really for the better part of the year. You could argue a lot of their wins definitely wasn't because of what Pat Mahomes is doing. He has the best defense that he's had in his career on the other side of things, which allows them to maybe be a little bit bolder with an offense that really has struggled all year long. I mean, let's be real. They only put up 17 against that Ravens team. Luckily, their defense was able to stifle what the Ravens wanted to do. But for me, I know it's not plus EV, whatever, but it's the Super Bowl, man. Let me get 8 points with Pat Mahomes and let me
Oh, yeah.
tease the over up and go under that. I think this is going to be a tight game. So even at 47, I lean towards that under. Sure, I got burnt on that before, and I know it's the Super Bowl. We want points, we want this, but look at the proof being in the pudding, folks. So for me, I like the under at 47. So I'm gonna do a same game teaser, and that'll be the play for the show for me. Give me the Chiefs at 8, and give me that total up to what would that be? 53 points, and I'll go under that. That's the way that I'm going to play this and start building my portfolio around that being my bigger bet on as far as the side and the total goes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's a Super Bowl. The market's as efficient as possible. There are a million props you
Yeah,
could probably find better edges on. So it's definitely not something we need to be unloading, 10 units on a side here. Like, this is not the
yeah,
game to do that. Just making sure the viewers understand that this game is a flex. Like, you want to say you like the 49ers, cool, but don't be just putting, 5 units on the 49ers or the Chiefs.
yeah.
Play the game and have some fun. But newbie,
Yeah, and
right
and
now,
also again, EP to strengthen your point and agree with what you're saying there too. Like It's the Super Bowl, and yes, it's fun, but don't undo all the work you did, because think about how hard it is to make money betting the NFL. If you are one of those people who has a nice big bankroll that you built up playing NFL, don't blow it all on one game. This is one game, and if you are going to ISO in on this being your game, if you're a live better and you're savvy at doing that, maybe you lock in that way. But if you're going to live bet the Super Bowl, this is something that Teddy Cover says every year, and I think it is the truest thing. If you commit to live betting this game, you better not be drinking too much. You better not be smoking too much. Honestly, you better not even probably be in a room where a party is going on, because you're going to miss the best number. You're going to miss your opportunity, and you're probably going to be yucking it up with your buddies saying, oh my God, look at how great this is. And, throwing in horrible bets. So if you are planning on making this be a money making game, live betting's probably going to be your way to do it. But if you're live betting, don't bet under the influence. No driving home after the game, after a Super Bowl party after a couple beers, but you probably want to tighten up your apps too. Don't undo all the work you did just on one game. Is what my suggestion would be.
That's an absolutely great point, newbie. I'm 100% with you. There is no need. Like, put your money to do a box. That's fun because that's all luck and
Yes.
randomness. Take a same game parlay for shits and gigs, for pizza money, for a bet
Yes.
that you would make with
Do
your
those
friend. Like that.
prop sheets. Like, there is a
Yes.
million ways to have fun on this game while not blowing your entire bankroll. And I've seen it happen so many times to buddies, to friends, to other people in the space. Like, just be smart, man. This is the heaviest bet on game that you're gonna have. So finding your edges, even in the prop market, those days are long gone,
Yeah. Again, if you could find like an obscure prop, I'm sure you could find a great edge.
man.
But like, at the time of recording, and by the time we record our prop episode, the truth of the matter is those props are going to be a week and a half old. They're already 4 days
Yep.
old. These things came up Saturday night, Sunday night. So we've already seen some props move as much as 4, 5, 6 yards already. So like newbies
I
been
will be
preaching.
betting on "Yeah" to be the first song that Usher sings. I will be betting on that, I will say.
I love doing stuff like that. It's so funny. Take a look at some national anthem film, some Gatorade color. Like you're better off betting yellow Gatorade at 10-1 than betting, Pacheco rush
That's
yards.
so
Like
true.
you have a better chance of
That's
doing
so
that.
true.
So consider it. But newbie, before we get on out of here, final score prediction, MVP prediction.
Final score. Well, I honestly think, it's easy to just say it's either going to be Brock Purdy or it's going to be, the other side with Pat Mahomes. But, I wouldn't be shocked. Kelsey has a game. You give Kelsey MVP. He's, on the field, yucking it up with his girlfriend, goes down on one knee, does a little proposal action. You don't know what could happen. The script writers could go crazy with this. I will say I'm going to be one of those people. I'm going to bet it not to be a quarterback. I'm going to do it. I do it every year. It gives me, a potential as a field bet. So I'll say it. I'll say Travis Kelsey. Keep the story going for the script writers. Give me Travis Kelsey. And as far as the final score, dude, I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be a 3-point game. The total will never not be an easy sweat for me. So give me 21-17 Chiefs. 21-17 Chiefs. Travis Kelsey has 2 touchdowns. MVP. That's the way I'm going.
Travis Kelsey, 2 tutties, MVP, and the under. I wonder what the hell that would be in a same game parlay, because if you could same game parlay those things, that reverse correlation there with the under, of course, you have the MVP correlation and the 2 TDs, that'd be crazy. I'm rocking 26-20 Kansas City Chiefs. I think we get a little bit of a sweat for the total. The Niners have the ball last and have to try to make their way back into this football game, and the Kansas City Chiefs, poetically, their defense is the driving force of their whole season. And I will say, though, before I get out of here, like the Charles Omenihu going down is actually really tough for the Chiefs, because he was
Agreed.
really coming on strong. He missed a lot of time this season, but when he played, he was really great. But the 49ers offensive line really is not great outside of Trent Williams. And we know the Chiefs love to get that pressure up the middle with Chris Jones. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say, yes, Mahomes MVP, Chiefs 26-20 is like my real guess. But I will say there is merit for, if there is a Chief to, make a game-changing pick 6 or a fumble 6 or something to completely shift this narrative. I do expect a heavy dose of Pacheco, and I do expect a clean game from Mahomes. So I would definitely look out for some defensive props as well. But my final prediction, Kansas City Chiefs 26-20. Give the king his flowers. Patrick Mahomes adds another ring to that finger. But guys, we want to thank you all for getting this quick preview of our thoughts on the Super Bowl. Next week, same time, we're discussing prop bets. Any and all. Newbie and I will give out actionable info. On the goldsheet.com, we have the newsletter up with my breakdown of the game. And also next week, we'll be releasing a whole prop sheet. Not every single prop I talk about on this show will be on that prop sheet. So make sure you go to goldsheet.com and buy this week's newsletter. For the Super Bowl, you get, again, my write-up on the game and every single prop that the team has for this weekend. Then again, wagertalk.com, Super Bowl to Super Bowl special, $800 of savings from picking up now every play until Super Bowl 2025. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.